Hey, I'm Amethyst Goddess from InAlignment Ministries, and today I will be locking in on the current energy. There is a new moon in Sagittarius coming up, matter of fact, tomorrow. I also want to see what Spirit has for us in regards to these energies that are really culminating, okay? They are brewing. We may feel very intense emotions, reactions to certain things we already know what it leads to. And I think we really need a message right now to tap into that energy and see how we can better handle the energy that comes and we come in contact with, or better manage our emotions, better manage our belief systems and what we think on a day to day basis, so that we're not constantly attracting certain things that we need to resolve. We can actually move along quite easily if we first have the understanding of what is going on, knowing what we're dealing with, knowing what is triggering us in a sense to react a certain way, and understanding why you are getting triggered. Because usually when you're triggered, there is an unhealed, unchecked part of you that needs to be addressed. And so we're not going to ace it all the time. And I want you to have this idea of, or change your perspective of how you view these tests, that they're not a pass fail type situation where you have to be overly critical of yourself or have some form of judgment uh, that is placed on you, and then you are, in a sense, considering these lessons or tests as daunting, as unobtainable to accomplish or to persevere through, or whatever perspective that has made you feel negative, in a negative space as far as your perspective related to these experiences. Okay, so I want to first crack down on what the current energy is. And the only way for me to really articulate it in the clearest manner is to go a little bit technical. Okay. So, with this energy, of course, astrology is real, whether we want to give credit to it or not. The planets move and operate in certain manners, and it's been proven from, beyond just this current age where people are saying it's this new practice of spirituality. No, it's been here. People have been using it long, long, long before we even existed. So it's tried and true. With that being said, I have to go in and explain exactly what is going on. Now, I've said this before, I'm not an astrologer. However, I do have a good understanding of what elements, what energies want to be engaged, what is may give us this sense of like a pressurized cooking where we're like, oh my gosh, this is so intense. And I understand when there's a flow, when that flow is there, we want to take advantage of those opportunities as well to learn, because you don't always get those learning experiences through challenges. You get learning experiences also through ease, through flow, through agility, through less resistance. So I don't want you to always think a challenge, challenge, challenge. We encourage those challenges in a sense to bring up anything that we need to improve on. If you have a mindset of that, that will actually help you. But I don't want you to get so caught up in it where you're like, I'm hearing an energy of fight or flight. So you hear Mercury retrograde, oh, you hear something, any planet in retrograde, even if you don't have an understanding of it, you're like dreading it. You hear the planet Saturn, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm tired of hearing about Saturn. Those different elements, it's like there's a misperception, just like with religion, just like with opinions and all of that. Is if you have the proper education and a proper understanding, you won't dread it as much. You actually appreciate Saturn because of those lessons. You appreciate retrogrades so that you can slow down and process information, and then process what you need to learn, or how you can hone in on certain aspects of yourself, and really heal in certain aspects. And not only just healing, but just having that awareness is really good. Okay. All right, let's get into it. let's get into it. Okay, so new moon in Sagittarius will begin December the 12th, which is tomorrow. Okay. And if you're into like astrology and about portals, energetic portals, 1212, there is a significance there. I may do a later video related to that if I have time. However, Sagittarius is ruled by the planet Jupiter. Jupiter is all about expansiveness, expansion of anything that is currently in effect. So I always say this, it will expand emotions, belief systems, anything that you have currently going on, whether it's whether you deem it as positive or negative, okay? It is going to manifest and magnify based on Jupiter energy. So it is connected to good fortune. It is connected to abundance. It is connected to a lot of what we deem as positive or positive traits. However, I want you to just keep in mind that it also expands anything that may be of lower vibration or on a negative sense. Okay. So Sagittarius is about I believe I no not I believe that's actually Pisces. I perceive and I see. Okay, so a lot of what we're going to be dealing with that's coming up to the surface is our belief systems. All right, Sagittarius is a philosophical, I mean, even hearing the energy of lone traveler, they may be that energy of like on a pilgrimage or on site for something higher, in a sense where it's like, what's the meaning of life? Or explore certain desires or aspects of themselves. They're willing to go inward and do that work. All right. Very explorative energy. So you're evaluating your perceptions during this time, your purpose, your destiny, what fulfills you, spiritual growth and development. Believe it or not, Sagittarius is a very spiritual sign. It may not manifest or show up as something all spiritual, but the way they operate in life is spiritual. So I'm seeing like even Tiana Taylor, like first thing that came up, she's a Sagittarius, I believe, and she has a range of of personality in a sense. If you look at her, she can look refined, then she looks like the 90s hip hop, then she looks like the business mom or boss mom, then she's like at one point she was married, so it's like you see the wifey energy within her. You see the hard, the rough edge, edges around her, but then you see the softness, the very feminine energy. And even in her dance approaches, you see this aggression, but then you see this soft feminine um energy as well. Okay. So with that being said, it's like us embracing or embodying that energy of Sagittarius, where we're if you think about it, I rarely see a Sagittarius that is stagnant. They are a fire energy, right? They're a fire sign, but they move. They have a constant movement about them. Very rarely do they sit still. And if they sit still, it's usually because they have to, or it's a thing where um, they realize or they recognize they've been doing too much and kind of like spirit sits them down in a sense. But or they're in a lower vibration. But most of the time, there is movement within them. There is constant movement and not just busybody movement. There's actually movement in a purposeful and a meaningful way. Okay, so during this time, because of that energy being philosophical, you have to evaluate your philosophy in life. What is your philosophy? Okay, what do you believe? What is your core belief system will show up and manifest every single day. And it will either show that you are in a victim mentality, it will show that if you're in an empowered state, it will show if your energy is off, if you're not having a good day, and you're not able to recalibrate in a sense, and you feel yourself just spiraling out, like going down, 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 down. All of it again is meant for you to reflect on what your belief system is. Your belief system is so important because it will, I'm hearing the word infiltrate, but it just shows up everywhere. So even the connections that you have, the people that you meet, the opportunities that lay at your feet, even the opportunities that you create for yourself, and how you actually build the foundation for those said opportunities. So there is a judgment call in a sense to really get a hold of what you're desiring, and how you want to allocate your energy, allocate your time, allocate your resources. So we are going on our individual journeys. Again, yes, we are a collective, and that's cool. But in order for the collective to really operate, because sometimes we have this false sense of community, in order for a community to operate, everyone has to be doing their part. If you look at ants, they're a community, but every ant has a position and they are operating in that position. They're not going over and checking and making sure if so and so is doing their part. They're not sitting and wallowing in whatever is going on their part. Even if there are some issues as far as building a bridge or a nest area for them to live, you don't see the struggle because everyone is doing their part, and it's like they're moving collectively together. But the only way they're able to do that is because it's that energy of one band, one sound. But even in when that one band, one sound, what everyone has their own instrument and they have to play their certain notes to make it harmonize, right? So, with that being said, there may be some energetic resistance because of Neptune. Now, I don't believe Neptune energy is in retrograde anymore, but that Neptune energy is forcing us, or not even forcing us, encouraging us to balance that wanting to be. This song is coming up. So, I'm an 80s baby. There's a song. This goes zippity doo dah, zippity yay. My, what a wonderful day. Plenty of sunshine headed my way. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, that song reminds me of Sagittarius energy. But the energy that is, I don't want to say combating, but it's in a sense it is, that is making us come down to earth and make it concrete. So you would think Neptune will be operating as an earth element in a sense, because it's asking us to really like bring it down, but it's like it's making you feel a certain restriction because there are ground rules that need to be established first in order to properly make things work. So you can have all these great ideas, you can have all these networking events you attend, you can go and advertise whatever, but at the end of the day you still have to put in the effort, you still have to put in the work, you still have to educate yourself related to whatever you're talking about. You have to have a good grip of what you're talking about, and what you're talking about is connected to what you believe. So you can have affirmations for days, but if your belief system is not in alignment to those affirmations, it's just you just talking. So there's required for us to do some groundwork within ourselves, to check in with ourselves. And some of it I'm hearing is related to our solar plexus. Okay. Our solar plexus is being highlighted during this time. What are we building? What are we believing? What is our perception? And again, I'm getting heavy solar plexus energy. And I'm going to look into the chart real quick after I get this information together. But again, Neptune energy can be clouded, illusion, all of that. But it's something about when it comes in contact with that energy of the new moon in Sag, it's like bringing it down. And maybe because of that that element, those elements together, it's like making you like come down to earth to figure it out. Otherwise, you're just going to be up in the clouds, confused, and not have anything going. And what that Neptune energy is doing is saying you just can't do what you want aimlessly. You can't just, hey, I'm just going to start this business today, but then don't have not put in the legwork for it, because you got to fill out paperwork. You're going to have an idea. You got to have a plan. Some of us, we actually created a business plan. We actually have to get funding, or at least know what the cost of things would be for us to actually initiate. It's, again, having a plan to go along with it, being able to lay down the foundations. Okay. Now, Jupiter is in Taurus and it's actually in retrograde. It was retrograde from September 4th to December the 31st. So, the end of this month, that's when that retrograde will be over. But of course, there's pre shadow and post shadow with retrogrades. But that Jupiter in Taurus is like the blessings are here. They're open for the asking, but you have to be willing to put in the work to make way and clear and make space for whatever you're desiring and whatever you want to welcome in. So that Jupiter in Taurus in retrograde, yes, it's like slowing us down in a sense, but it's like for us to be a little bit more meticulous, to have a little bit more strategy, and to be able to um I'm hearing carefully, meticulous, strategic. Those are the energies that I'm getting from Jupiter and Taurus. Again, Jupiter expands whatever we put in. So that Taurus energy is very stable. It's connected to Venus energy. Venus energy is all about the material, love, relationships, um, even visually, like how we show up. So you may have considered during this time to look at your identity and how you show up on a physical sense. If you wanted to change your look, if you want to modify even just how you just show up, period. Because some of our energies have been sort of lackluster. And so it's just like I'm hearing a bolster of energy, like a fiery element working with the earth element to ignite and really like help us get to where we need to be. So consistently, carefully lay down the foundation. And it may come off slow. However, you're using and applying I'm hearing application. So the application of the set experiences that you had, your wisdom that you've had obtained or accomplished all the way to this point, from the past all the way to now. What have you learned, and apply that? So that's what that Jupiter and Taurus energy is about. We also have Chiron in Aries that is currently retrograde. And Aries, you think fiery, is the first element or first zodiac sign. I am. That's their affirmation. Out of all the 12, they're the first. So they're the youngest energy. And in a sense, sometimes that Aries energy can burn out. They'll have these bomb ideas, they'll execute, and then they burn out at times. All right. So with the Chiron and Aries, it's actually meant, I don't know if you're familiar, but it's somewhat an asteroid from my understanding as far as the Chiron. The Chiron is connected to the wounded healer, but that energy is helping us to resolve any unhealed parts of ourselves. So you may come in contact with someone that mirrors you, that triggers you, that so it can bring up whatever is unresolved. It's like a catalyst energy. So I want you to be mindful of your interactions with people. You're getting agitated by them. You don't understand why they keep doing the same thing. You don't understand why they agitate you as much, or why they have these certain behaviors and traits. Well, this is why. Because you keep doing the same thing over and over again. It is mirroring something in you. Why does it bother you so much about them? What is it about them that agitates you so much? And that will help you look inwardly to see something within you that is not resolved. okay? Whether it's unforgiveness, whether it's resentment, whether you feel somewhat, if you're looking at somebody that's chaotic and it triggers you or bothers you, is there something chaotic within you or disturbing that you haven't really addressed and you kind of been pushed into the side? Do you find yourself somewhat feeling like your life is in disarray and you want it to be better than what it is, but that person is showing you on the outwardly just how chaotic and crazy their life is on the outward, but you may be feeling crazy and chaotic on the inward? Make sense? So Chiron and Aries is asking us to be vulnerable vulnerable during this time. All right. Uranus in Taurus, so another earth element, Taurus. So a lot of earth and fire. Uranus in Taurus is retrograde from August the 28th of this year to January the 27th of next year. Then we have Mercury retrograde in Capricorn from December the 13th through January the 2nd. And of course, again, that pre and post shadow. So you may have started feeling the Mercury retrograde energy prior to that set date, and you're going to probably feel some form of effects. You get some relief in between that time when it goes station, but during the ending part, it's like you'll feel just a little bit tad of it and then you're done. All right. They ain't going nowhere. These retrogrades ain't going anywhere. So either you get it or you not. You get what I'm saying? Either you're gonna understand what you need to learn and move on from it, or you're just gonna keep experiencing the same things. That's basically what it's all about. And sometimes with those retrogrades, if they don't affect you, I mean, cool, but because some of us have been born into certain things that have been challenging as it is, so a retrograde ain't nothing to us. But in the sense of if you do experience some form of issues related to the retrograde, you can fine tune it. Okay, I already know technology may be on some wonky stuff, appointments may be kind of wonky. I can expect this, that, and the third. Have a plan B or something in place just in case something falls through. You can have some form of proactivity or, being proactive as far as your affairs. You can also expect, usually what happens, people from the past come in. You can evaluate that, how you going to play with that. And usually you can, it's like that test of time where you can see, okay, this is more than likely something either I need to go ahead and finish out and close, entertain it for a moment to learn whatever I need to learn from it, and then be done with it. All right. So a lot of this energy is related to our belief system and the foundational work that we're willing to put in as well. And that foundation includes wisdom. In order to have a foundation, you have to have wisdom. And wisdom comes from experiences, wisdom comes from trial and error, wisdom comes from knowing and not knowing, because there's a point in time where you didn't know and you had an experience that helped you know. So then you don't want to experience that again unless you go through it again and then you obtain another layer of I know, right? Until you master it. Because this is all about it's almost like a video game here in this lifetime. Okay? Excuse me. It's like a video game and it's a self mastery aspect to it. And then there's things that you come here to learn. Instead of resisting it, just go ahead and learn what you need to learn and move on from it. So this is what I received as far as the energy. Again, I felt solar plexus energy, and I'm about to look up solar plexus real quick. I've explained this before. Solar is sun, and a lot of our mental energy is within our solar plexus, believe it or not. So your personal power, your will, your energy, self-control, your social identity, authority, inner harmony, action, vitality, and influence. So if you have an issue or an imbalance, it will show up as poor self-esteem. It will show up as fear of rejection, oversensitivity to criticism, or you may be heavily critical of others and yourself, self-image fears, indecisiveness, and feeling the need to control or dominate. Okay. And it can actually manifest as diseases such as indigestion, anorexia, bulimia, arthritis, as well as diabetes. So to strengthen that, you can say, I am growing stronger every day in every way. I allow my peace to radiate into all of my choices. I accept myself. I can. I can. And if you are of the Christian faith, you know that scripture, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me, who strengthens me. Now, you don't have to necessarily believe that aspect. You can make it the way you want to make it, right? You can tap into Christ consciousness, right? I'm hearing 33 may be of significance to some of you. On an energetic level, you may be 33 or approaching 33, or 33 is just a number that you've been seeing. 333, 1111, and 1212. Let's see what 1212 is all about. Dang, all the energies that I've been talking about. That's crazy. I think so. Shall I? So I am, or something like that. So I will be. As a man thinketh, so is he. Okay. I will. Okay. Oh wow. Okay. I got a gang of stuff to say to y'all. These cards are interesting. Like, I just get information, and it just start pouring in. So I want you to encourage yourself to change your perception about how Saturn shows up. It's related to Capricorn energy. Okay, I want you to change how these lessons, change your perception of how you view your lessons, how you view your experiences. That is nothing happening to you. Okay, so the experiences that are triggering you, that upsetting you, I want you to go down that rabbit hole of thinking about what is up with that. I want you to explore that. Why does it bother you so much? And again, this is human nature. This is human experience. No one is absolved from getting triggered or getting irritated. But I'm also hearing the concept of working and operating through love. Love is not being blind to the BS. Love is saying you see, you hear, you feel, you understand, but you're going to operate in this aspect regardless of how someone else is. Okay? Libra is I balance. So again, remember I was telling you about balancing, laying the foundational work, having a balanced perception of how you see or view things and how things are unfolding for you. You can easily fall into pessimism during this time. You can easily feel like things are not working on your behalf, but you got to counteract that. And how you counteract that is not being combative, but how you counteract that is through love, and then a change of perception of how things are maneuvering in your life. Aries energy, again, I mentioned Chiron, but I'm hearing an energy of divine feminine really taking her position, her rightful position, and how she utilizes and operates the strengths that she has. And those things that are said are weaknesses, to be able to alchemize that energy and transmute it so that it can operate for her highest good. Aries, I am. And it's really all about you, is self-worth. Okay, it's not worrying about how someone else is getting on your nerve. It's not about focusing on the next person or the next situation. It's not about that. It's about how you show up. The moon, again, we're going to have this new moon in Sagittarius. The moon is connected to Cancer. So you're going to really evaluate your feelings, your emotions during this time, because again, it will challenge you to look at yourself and see, why do you get upset? Why do you feel sad? Why do you feel happy? Why do you feel the way you feel, and put it in its proper perspective, right? Cancer, I feel Cancer will be affected when it comes to the retrograde. Libra will, Aries will. So, from what I'm gathering, Libra, Aries, Cancer, Leo, Sagittarius, and Gemini very well may be affected during this retrograde, in Capricorn. Okay. And I'm hearing move through love. Leo is about I will. That's even though Leo rules the heart, I'm getting heavy solar plexus energy with this. So all of the fire signs are out. Leo, Sag, and Aries. Okay. Mercury, is connected to Gemini and Virgo. So Virgo very well may be affected by this energy as well. Because I'm hearing fixation. So if there are some issues that you keep fixating on other people's patterns or beliefs or even yours, it's wanting you to like a tape, it rewound, you gotta rewound it because the tape may come out. Old school people, you have cassette tapes, and sometimes it gets, you hear that sound, the tape is messed up. So you gotta take a cassette out of the tape player. You gotta reround it. You gotta make sure the tape is in there and aligned properly, and then you can put it in there. You may have to blow in there. You may have to do a few things to get it together, and then you pop it back into the cassette player. That is what the spirit of this energy is saying. That is what spirit is saying. This is what the energy is asking you to do. You may have to reround. You may have to pull it apart and put it back together because you don't want to stay in your energy of analytical, like analyzing it in the sense of redundancy, but analyzing it to resolve it, to figure it out. Okay. And communication, okay, Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, okay, communication may be an issue for some of you. Being honest with your communication, being truthful with your communication, and being truthful, not necessarily always going to be pleasant to someone's ears. Gemini, I think, that is connected with Mercury as well. You may have an issue with I think. So I think is the affirmation for Gemini, and that's all about the thinking part comes inwardly. The thoughts that you have comes from within. So even if you've been shaped and molded a certain way from others and the way you were raised, at the end of the day, it starts to, I'm hearing ruminate. I don't even know what that word may be as far as this, but basically it cycles into your subconscious like that cassette player. It's feeding back into the subconscious. So then it's not on the forefront of your mind. You're just doing and acting out based on a recording. Okay. So all these energies are really working together just to address some things and fine tune some of the beliefs or systems that we've had in place that we need to work on. I'm going to go live later on to do all signs. I'm not exactly sure what platform I'm going to use. Just stay tuned, turn your notifications on. I really enjoyed this intuitive astro aspect as far as what is going on. And I appreciate this experience. Do I need to say anything else? Fine tune and love. So that's reiterating fine tuning and love. Okay. So that's all I have. Be well. Take care.